that is how coffee is. It's from, although it's a very long process, people are really very impatient with the coffee because it takes quite long, like 3 to 5 years for the coffee to really become the coffee we know.
Quality.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So, to add on a little on what he's saying, you know, the process through which coffee undergoes affects the price and the quality of the coffee at the end.
It's a beautiful day in Kampala, Uganda, and this is House of Talent Television. My name is Ateng Emmanuel, and this is the Coffee Break Show, the show where we talk about everything that involves coffee, from the tree to the cup, like the baristas like to say it. And again, you can catch us on our social media handles at House of Talent Television Uganda. That's on our Facebook, on our Twitter. And you can also catch us on our website, houseoftalentug.com. Let us know what's happening on your part of the world. Is it daytime? Is it nighttime? Do you have your cup of coffee ready? Do you have your pen and paper ready? Because today we have two gentlemen in the house. Before, we have had guys who are baristas, guys who are very accomplished, people with brands, you know, but today we want to get to know from these guys who are students at Brew Plus what it takes to be a barista, basically from the beginning. So if you're out there wondering that you want to become a barista, you want to become a student of coffee, where do you start? How do you start? These guys are in the house to let you know how that's happening. Gentlemen, you're very welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
It's very good to have you guys at our House of Talent. Thank you for honoring our request to come here. To start off the show, okay, we want to know who you guys are, all right? I know part of who you guys are, but you know, there's someone out there seeing you guys for the first time wondering, okay, who are these good looking guys, you know? There must be some girls there wondering, who are these good looking guys seated there, you know? So I just want you guys to introduce yourselves. We'll start off with you, Simon. Who are you and what do you do?
Thank you very much, Emma. My name is Simon Oibi.
Yeah.
I'm a barista today. I think I joined barista school earlier this year.
Yeah.
I didn't know about coffee, and a friend of mine introduced me to a barista school here in Kamocha.
Yeah.
And then that's how I came to join the coffee field.
Yeah.
It's amazing because I was doing something else very different from coffee. I didn't know about coffee completely.
Yeah.
I used to see coffee in the garden,
Yeah.
and I was wondering what coffee was exactly. So a friend of mine said, I've been so much pressurizing me because I wanted to go out there to look for, you know, some money, like any inquisitive man can be. Then he said, no, if you want to go, then I have something else that you can do.
Yeah.
Maybe if you want to go to the Middle East, so you can earn something a little bit more. Because if you just go as like, so many people go to the Middle East being as carriers and maybe cleaners and so on, and they just kept paying maybe a little bit of just a little money, but he said to me, no, you come, you go and learn barista, and then maybe you go and you're paid a little bit more. So that's how I came to join a barista school. Yeah, and up to now we are still learning. I'm still planning on how to, you know, but it's a little bit amazing journey so far. I find it interesting. I find it very interesting. Coffee is a very interesting field. Although people so much don't know about coffee.
Yeah.
So
a lot of people actually don't know about coffee, and it's interesting to hear your journey. Most of the guys I've had on the show actually ended up somewhere in the Middle East.
Yeah.
You know, somewhere in Dubai, somewhere in Kuwait. So it seems like for Uganda, the place to go as a barista is in the Middle East. So that's where you want to make your money. Yeah.
And I don't know why we keep going to the Middle East and we grow coffee here. I think that those people definitely don't even grow coffee. But people in Uganda who grow coffee don't know about coffee. And they don't even take coffee.
Yes.
This is something I've been asking myself severally. I don't know why
And
it is.
that is why you're here. Those are some of the things we're going to discuss. You know,
Okay.
welcome to the show. And
Thank you.
Emma, my namesake, please.
Okay, my name is Emmanuel Kasinzi,
Yeah.
and I'm also training to be a barista. Let me first take you behind before I joined the barista school.
Yeah.
I was doing a diploma in culinary arts. So to make it simple, it's cooking. It's a cooking course.
Yeah.
So in the middle of my course, I had a friend who is a chef. He said, I can introduce you to a restaurant where I'm working so that you can also be practicing as you're studying.
Yeah.
So as I came to the restaurant, there was shortage of waiters. So my boss told me, a nice looking guy, I think before you go to the kitchen, you can first help me out and be serving.
Yeah.
Like for a month, when I get more waiters,
Yeah.
you will go to the kitchen. So I joined the waiters in the place. I start serving orders, cappuccinos, lattes. No, so I used to love the way our barista used to present his cups.
Yeah.
For example, one day he presented some nice coffee. It was a cappuccino, very nice, presented. And I asked him, how do you make this? He said, you go to a school and study.
Yeah.
So I used to love the passion he had. So I said one day I should learn this. So I kept on serving his orders. But I found out that most of the orders were according to the way he was feeling. You know, baristas present their cups according to the way they are feeling, according to the mood. In case he left home when he's sad, he's not happy, you will see the results in the cup. But when you see something beautiful, just know he's so happy.
Yeah.
So the passion he had and the love he used to put in the cup really encouraged me to join the school. Not until I got to learn about Isaac at the Pro Plus.
Yeah.
Then I came with some of my friends, so we are now doing the course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how you say that, how a barista feels is how the cup will come out. I think it's the same with cooking. You encounter school.
Yeah.
Yes, how you feel basically is how the final product will be presented to you. Simon, you have something to say?
Yeah, I was simply adding, I don't know how the feelings usually turn out our results, but even when, for example, one day I was a teacher, and then whenever a teacher comes to class, what they feel at home or what they have in feeling is what exactly they have to, they translate to the children. When somebody feels bad back home, they will definitely come to class when they are mad.
True.
So I think it is something related to feelings.
Feelings are very important in whatever you do in life, basically. How you wake up in the morning and how you feel basically sets the tone for the day. If you wake up pissed off,
that's true.
Your whole day basically is going to be like that. So outside coffee, I believe you guys are passionate about other things. Emma, what are you passionate about apart from coffee and culinary school? What else do you do? We had a guy here who he said he was passionate about Arsenal, even if Arsenal is losing like a problem now. So what else are you passionate about, Emma?
My passion is too weird. I'm really so passionate at but let me phrase it in this way. Me, I want to be a celebrity. And I think this is my first achievement in my passion. Because I have the chance, the camera. So I'm really so happy because even if after me learning the barista things, I have to take it on. On TV shows, YouTube channels. I need to be known around the world. So that's my passion.
If you're out there, you want to be like Emma, you want to be a superstar, you want to be a social media influencer, House of Talent will get you there. This is where you start, and from then on, you will be a superstar. All right, Peter. What about you? What do you do outside coffee?
My passion. Okay. I like music so much. I did music from O level to A level. Before I was thinking that I would become maybe a producer. Then I didn't go so much. I just ended in A level, and then I dropped because I had to look for life. I just grew up like myself. So I had to go to school. I went to school in GNGSS. So GNGSS groomed me to be, what I am now. So I started looking for life, and I had no money to, Then I also have to now start looking for the future, partner. And then I started just like that, and my dream just ended up. So Apparently, I've been doing food. We have a restaurant in Mukono. It's called Tiana Food Spot, just along Kayunga Road. And then I like food so much. I did not go to, to the kitchen to learn how to cook, but I think I just have the passion. I taste food and I feel this is,
good food.
Good food. So even when I'm home, I feel like I must be the one cooking, not my wife, because I taste my food and I feel it good. So I think that's my passion. I have passion in food and music. All the time I'm always in music. My phone is always running out of battery because of music. Yeah. So I think that's my passion.
Well, it's good that we have a chef and someone who likes to eat.
Yeah.
So you guys definitely should just sit one day he cooks, you eat. Yeah, but it's always good to know, what we do outside coffee, because life is big. It's a whole thing. I also sit here on media, but I also play basketball. So you really can't put your life in one perspective. You have to be a whole person. And I believe that with that kind of understanding, if in future you got someone, a customer who loves music, it would be easy for you to relate with them. If you met a chef who came, for you to serve them, it would be easy for you to connect with them. So it's always good to include, the whole of our lives into, coffee and the different things that we do. So Emma, what was the first thing you thought about coffee before you entered coffee? I remember for me, growing up, to us coffee was just kawa. The one you buy from the shop at 100 shillings, and you go pour in a hot cup, and that's it. That's what I thought about coffee before. But after a while, I started learning, there are baristas, there are roasters, and it just opened up my mind, to a lot of possibilities. So Emma, what did you think about coffee before you joined, the coffee school?
It's really so funny, but before I got to know more about coffee, I used to think that coffee is for the elderly men, because you know the way they sell coffee in the local way, there's way they tie it in their banana, are they banana leaves or what? I don't know.
Banana leaves, yes.
Yeah, they tie it in that banana leaf, so they used to tell me that it's the old guys to eat the coffee, so I have to go and buy. So I didn't know anything about coffee except that. Not until I got to learn more about coffee, that it's really so nice, and so it's rich of nutrients and a lot of other things.
What about you, Simon?
Yeah, it's funny knowing about coffee. Like you said, I used to know coffee like, a pack of 100 shillings, and then you put it in water. That's what I knew coffee was. Little did I know it is a broad field. It's really a very broad field that people don't know about. When a friend of mine introduced me to Brew Plus, that's when I started learning that, this is how coffee is. But why is it that we produce coffee here and just sell it when we don't take it here, we don't consume it here? So one time, when I had just started my training here, I went back to Iganga. And then I went to a hotel, a very established hotel. I will not mention its name. Then I wanted to see if I have people that know about coffee in hotels, because I knew probably big hotels serve coffee. So to my dismay is that I introduced myself as a barista, and everybody was like, "What's a barista?" So I said, a barista is a specialist that makes coffee, a person who makes coffee for people to, coffee like, cappuccino, different kinds of, coffees, and people were like very green. I said, this is a big hotel. I expected to find here a coffee machine, and nobody knows about it. So it's, I think, incumbent of us to really transform this entire community, the entire country, to coffee, to learn about coffee, and also to give them the advantages of coffee, teach them about coffee, and then later on they maybe consume it, rather than just selling it. Because there are so many jobs related to coffee. As a barista, people don't know how much a barista earns. There are few baristas, very, very few, and there are so much in a want. People want baristas, and they are not there. So I think that it's time that maybe the coffee, the government starts picking up coffee, maybe start serving in maybe government offices, and you know, that's how coffee maybe will graduate to maybe even homes.
Yeah.
Because when you start using coffee in the office, definitely you will transfer the idea to home.
Yeah.
And say, no, I must have coffee at home.
Yeah.
So that's how people maybe will start using coffee.
Yeah.
But we cannot just sell coffee and we don't take it.
True. You know, Uganda is predominantly a tea country. You know, we take a lot of tea, and people really haven't, you know, gotten into the whole coffee thing. It's looked at as coffee is for, you know, the high class people, the white people who come to Uganda. Yet, you know, even a person at their homes, coffee is a basic thing. You can actually brew coffee at your home, you know, with very, like, the apparatus like the one we want to use after, you know, to brew some coffee. Let's take it back a bit. Emma, what was your first day in class like? You know, sat in class and probably Isaac is talking about, you know, all this Robusta coffee, it's like about coffee machines, you know, what was your first experience like, you know, that first day of class?
You know, Isaac always tells us that what you expected and what was presented. So when we were reporting for the training, I used to think that you're going to be learning how to make flowers every day. You know, those flowers they put on the cappuccino, being on the machine every time. Not until I got to know that you have to learn how to plant coffee, how coffee is harvested, the different methods that coffee undergoes. You know, it is really something so wide and deep. So if you can't be patient to learn, that's why some of the baristas in Uganda are just baristas to make money, but not experts, not professional baristas, not baristas that can come out of their stations to come and explain to the customers why the taste of the coffee has changed. Why is this coffee today tasting differently? For them, they know how, so long as you know how to put the flour on the cappuccino, you are a barista. You know? But now, at least now I know that. I know more about being a barista.
Now, you know, it's a way bigger thing. It's not
something
just serving
way
coffee.
bigger.
Because anyone else can serve coffee, you know, but there's a level of professionalism that you have to put into this. Simon Peter, I won't ask you the same question because I know you started way before him. But in a class, basically, I believe that for your groups, you're either 5 or less, okay? And there are very many different, you know, characters in a class. Okay, everyone is different, you know, and being in a class of such people, okay, how do you work together with them to ensure that at the end of the day all of you become good baristas? Because everyone learns at a different pace, okay? You might have someone who's better at the theory part, you might have someone who's better at the machines, okay? So how are you working together with the people in your class to ensure that at the end of the day all of you are very good baristas?
Okay, maybe to start with, my first day, I want to add in my first day, and when we came to class, Isaac served us coffee. To me, I had not taken coffee that much, and when he served coffee, it was very concentrated coffee, and I tasted it and I felt bad. So I asked for sugar. I said, no, but you add some sugar because really I'm not feeling it. You know, so it's a funny taste that you get used to gradually. So we were like 7 in a class. We had some girls, 3 girls, and then 4 boys. And we would help each other every other time. We help each other, we take notes and read, and then in the morning when we come, we discuss. And then even when we are doing the latte art, we help each other. Please, you have to steam like this, maybe with the espresso machine. You have to steam very well, and then you make the latte art. You know, you help each other. That's how we cope up to help each other. You know, at the end of the day, you become a good barista. And many times they tell us that those people in the Middle East simply want you to have the latte art. But of course, the knowledge, the coffee knowledge is very much important. And many people have gone to the Middle East to make money, and also Europe, but they have no coffee knowledge. So Coffee Brew Plus has really given us the opportunity to learn about the coffee and also get more about coffee.
All right. Before we get into a break, Emmanuel, you said you were working in a restaurant, and you know, the chef saw you as a good-looking guy, and he's like, you know what? go serve, go be a waiter. Okay, how important are your looks? Okay, when it comes to being a barista, it might not only be the way you look, facially, but the way you organize yourself, the way you dress. How important is that in making a barista?
Your looks and the way you dress and the way you do your things is really so important in being a barista.
Yeah.
Because this is a technical what? Process.
Yeah.
You have to be someone that is really so clean, someone that is so smart. You don't have to just go get cups anywhere and you serve.
Yeah.
Isaac always tells us that you must first preheat your cup before presenting your coffee.
Yeah.
But you find out that some of the baristas, before presenting your coffee, you just go, you wash the cup, you rinse it there in water, dry up and give what?
The customer.
And serve some just even can pick from the store and put.
Yeah.
That's why you find cases where there are cockroaches in the coffee. So you have to be someone that is really so clean and organized, so that you can produce clean products.
Interesting.
To add on, Emma, is that I happen to be also in the restaurant. But usually the looks is what gives the person taking your drink or even taking your food the appetite.
Yeah.
When you're serving a customer, first of all, they will look at how you presented yourself, how you are. So that's why you find that many restaurants would look for very cute girls to serve, because the appetite comes when you look at the person.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a nice person, and the look of what you're serving as well.
True.
So it's about how you present yourself. So that's very important, Emma. It's really important that his looks are,
Yeah, true. Well, if you just tuned in, this is the Coffee Break on House of Talent Television. In the house, I have Emmanuel and Simon Peter with me, students at Brew Plus studying to become baristas and something big in the coffee industry. My name is Ateng Emmanuel, and it's good to have you guys watching. We'll take a break right now, but we'll be right back discussing the perspectives of students in the coffee business. Stay right there. This is House of Talent Television. Welcome back to the Coffee Break on House of Talent Television. My name is Ateng Emmanuel, and with me in the studio, Emmanuel, my namesake, and Simon Peter from Brew Plus. These guys are students who are starting to become baristas. And before we left off, we're just basically discussing who they are, what they do, what drew them into the coffee business. And coming back, we're going to discuss their perspectives on the coffee business. What did they think? What do they want to do? What do they want to achieve? Peter, I'll go to you first. Yeah, you told us who you are, what you do, you know, where you started your first day. You know, you actually didn't like the cup of coffee you were served, but you know, after some time, you know, the taste started getting to you. So we just want to know, because coffee is a process. You know, the baristas always say it's from the tree to the cup. Okay, I believe that is one of the first things you actually study in barista school. So for the people out there who do not understand, what is the tree part? I believe that is planting. Okay, so if you could just take us through the planting process. I have a seed, I need this seed to grow. Okay, what do I do with it?
Initially, I just thought that the seeds just, you just find a plant that is just there and it will just give, you know, coffee seeds. But little did I know that, you know, you have the dry coffee seeds and then you make a nursery bed, and then for a certain period of time, like when the seedlings are mature enough, is when the replanting, you know, you plant them to the garden. So that's how the coffee planting process is. The seedlings, from the seed to the seedlings, and then to the garden to become now big plants. So one time I was in class, and then someone was telling us that for you to become a good coffee farmer, it's basically if you start as a barista, you can start a farm and become a very good coffee farmer. You know, the reason as to why we produce very bad coffee here in Uganda is that people don't taste their coffee. But when you know the taste of the coffee, you can easily go back to the garden and produce very nice coffee. But you know, people are after money. They just grow coffee, pick it, and then after picking the coffee, they just put it anywhere and then take it to the market for selling. It's not like that. The coffee must really have to take a very good process to reach to the final consumer who is taking it in the cup. Because what happens in the garden is what a person in the cup is going to have. So that is how coffee is. It's from, although it's a very long process, people are really very impatient with the coffee because it takes quite long, like 3 to 5 years for the coffee to really become the coffee we know. Quality.
So to add on a little on what he's saying, you know, the process through which coffee undergoes affects the price and the quality of the coffee at the end. So one day I was trying to search on the different varieties of coffees that we have in the world, and I was able to find out that Black Ivory is the most expensive coffee. So I kept on wondering, how is Black Ivory the most expensive coffee? So as I went deep to search the process Black Ivory goes through, it's really so funny that those guys get the coffee, the berries, the yellow ones, red, and they feed them to elephants. So the berries go through the digestive system of the elephant, and when the elephant poops, so they go and pick the remaining processed coffee beans. So that by the time they are out, they're already processed, full of flavors. So coffee is really so amazing.
It's amazing that coffee can come from that process.
Because I had in case you put 7 kilograms, you can pick like a kilogram out of the elephant poop.
So it's a very hard process.
It's really so hard. so hard.
But if it's that expensive, I mean, it's worth the wait.
Yeah, it's really worth.
Yeah, it's worth the wait. So speaking about Black Ivory, we have different kinds of coffee. Okay? Which ones do we grow in Uganda, and in which parts of Uganda do we find the different types?
We have Robusta, Robusta coffee, and then Robusta is basically in the mountainous areas of Uganda, I think around Kapchorwa, and the slopes of Mount Elgon. And then we also have the Arabica. Is it?
And by the way, let me tell you the funny bit of the coffee story. They say that coffee, by the way, Africa is a rich continent, because they say that the Arabica coffee was initially found in Ethiopia, in the Ethiopian highlands there. So most of the coffee that you see and Arabica is the most exported and traded coffee. So that means Africa is a rich continent.
Yeah.
And the Robusta was also found in Uganda around the Lake Victoria Basin.
Yeah.
So that makes really Africa and Uganda to be really so great. Though Uganda is also in Africa, but me, I always make sure that Uganda stands out.
Yeah, I think Uganda in Africa is
Yeah.
actually one of the leading exporters of coffee.
Yeah.
But like you said earlier, it's amazing that we can actually export it, but we don't consume it
Yeah.
here, which is a very big gap that I think we need to explore. Right? Moving on from there, to Simon Peter. We have talked about, you know, the different kinds of coffee. We've talked about how you start growing that seed, you know, before you transplant it to the garden. So what are some of those things that I need to make sure I'm doing to the coffee seeds after planting them? They're still in the nursery bed before taking them. Do I have to water them, keep them out in the sun? You know, what are the different methods or strategies that I have to do to make sure that by the time I transplant this coffee to the garden, you know, it has reached the point whereby it's transplanted?
Yeah, so after the seedlings have germinated, of course you need to take very good care of the seedlings. They don't need to get so much exposed to the sunshine. Of course they will dry up, and they also don't need to, you know, get a lot of, you know, water. You need to keep them in a moderate state until they are grown up a little bit stronger to withstand the sunshine. And then that's when you are good enough to go to transplant them to the garden. And in the garden, you must give, you know, the good spacing, the spaces. You know, farmers out there think that you plant one here, one there, and, you know, you plant many trees to get, you know, more yields, and that's wrong. It's usually the spacing that you give to the plant to, you know, give the plant more space, you know, to give the nutrients that the plant will give you more seeds. You know, but you know, farmers think that one plant after the other is a good way to go. That's not good enough.
So you have to take care of that. If you're watching us from home, these guys are speaking like professionals, but they are not yet professionals. They are on their way, starting to become baristas, but you can already see what the barista education is doing for them. It's not just about serving a cup of coffee, you know, putting art in a latte, but basically discovering where coffee started from, where are we as a country in coffee. And yeah, if you're out there thinking of entering the coffee business, it's a very good thing for you. If you're out there, lockdown has caught you, you're a student, you're at home, you don't know what to do, consider going to barista school. I believe that it will be a very important thing for you. Emmanuel, we have planted our coffee, we have transplanted it, we have taken care of it, we have made sure that, you know, everything is okay. It's time for harvest. You know, how do we harvest the coffee, and how do we process it to make sure that we get that good quality?
Okay, so you know, coffee goes through 3 processes. There's what we call the dry process, the wet, and the honey process. But in Uganda, mostly we use the dry and the wet process. So I'm going to just go a little deep in the 3 processes. But you know, in the dry process, you have to pick the red ones, clean them, dry them up, you know. So as you're drying them, they are fermenting. As they're fermenting, the sugars are going deep. They are going deep in the seed. So that at the end, when the consumer is tasting the coffee, is able to feel the nutrients that are in the coffee. So in the wet, they don't dry, but they just pulp. After pulping, then they also take it and and remove the husks. So coffee is really so amazing that the process through which it goes through affects the flavor, the taste. So really, that's coffee.
So to Peter, what are some of these flavors we can get out of coffee? Because I believe that, you know, the way you roast it will ultimately that's the way it will come out as a flavor. You know, you have the really dark roast, then you have the brown roast, you know. So what are some of these flavors that we can get out of it?
There are flavors like caramel, there are flavors like chocolate. Then there are so many flavors. I cannot recall everything right now, but I think there are so many. There are many flavors actually. There are many I can't recall.
Then studying, I know that there's caramel, there's chocolate, there are all these different kinds of flavors, Have you ever thought, you know, you just sit there one day and think, hey, there's caramel and chocolate. Why don't I create some chili coffee or something? You know?
Yeah.
Have you thought about, you know, creating something for yourself?
Yeah,
Like a different kind of flavor.
actually, the flavors come right from the garden. You always tell us that when the plant is in the garden, what nutrients it gets involved in with is how the flavor will come.
Yeah.
You know, when you grow coffee together with maybe jackfruit, some plants around jackfruit tree, you're going to find out that as you're taking this coffee in the cup, you will always feel that there's some smell, there's some flavor of jackfruit in that coffee. So I don't know how it comes about, but it depends on what nutrients it has gotten with in the garden. You know, that's how the flavors of the coffee will definitely come out.
So if I want some strawberry coffee, I just
Yeah,
have to make sure that, you know, within my plant, I put in
yes,
some,
yes.
some
That's how
strawberries.
funny coffee is.
Yeah. Okay, I think it really picks up, you know, scents from different plants really quick.
Yes.
Yeah, so we have processed our coffee, you know, now it's moving on to the next step. How do we store coffee? Because I believe that, you know, you just don't put it there and, you know, that's it. How do we store coffee?
Coffee is packed in bags.
Yeah.
Bags that are able to pass out air and also bring in some air. And when you're keeping those bags, they must be on a raised pallet. You should not allow coffee bags to be on the ground. Why? Because they may gain the moisture from the ground.
Yeah.
So you have to put it on a raised pallet, and the coffee beans and the sacks should not touch the walls. So coffee is really so weird that you must take care of it. Any mistake you do, it affects the whole process. So that's how you put it in the bag until you wait for its time to be taken out.
So you talked about air, you know, I don't need air in that bag. So which air goes out, which air comes in?
Yeah.
Which one?
Coffee, you lose carbon dioxide from the coffee.
Yeah.
So that's the coffee, the air that goes out. Yeah.
So you need to keep it sealed the whole time?
No, you need to keep, not sealed, but in the bag so that you can be able to be losing the air.
Okay, so if I don't take good care of it, at the end of the day, my cup is really going to not be that good. Yeah, that's interesting. So coffee is like a baby, basically.
It's like a baby.
It's a baby that you really, you know, have to take very good care of.
Right from the garden.
For the final result. Okay, we've talked about, you know, the coffee process, and at the end of the day, you guys want to be baristas. But I believe that coffee is not limited to being a barista. Yeah. So, to Peter, what are some of these different aspects that we can get involved in? You know, apart from just being a barista, you know, what other professions are there within, you know, the coffee industry?
I think a farmer is a basic, the foundation of coffee. So you can be a farmer, you can be a coffee dealer, and there are so many coffee dealers, you know. Then you can also be a barista, and then
you can also be a coffee roaster.
A coffee roaster, yes.
A
kappa,
so
yes. There are so many people that are involved in the coffee. Yeah, but these are all jobs that we are not looking out to. We just look at coffee just like that, and we export these jobs abroad. Because when we export this coffee, these jobs are created for people there. You know, you have to be a roaster. There's a roaster. There's a kappa. You know, a person who tests these different coffees to see which one has the best taste. So, and then there is also a barista, and baristas are not here. They are there in, you know, those countries. You know, we are exporting a lot of jobs. And then maybe we only have farmers, but which farmers are also not very much educated about coffee. They don't know about so much coffee. So
you can be a trainer.
You can also be a trainer. We are in school. So we are acquiring knowledge. You know, then later on, maybe we can also have our own schools and train children, I mean people. You know, so maybe, so that is it.
Well, you're hearing it there from Peter and Emmanuel. We have them in the house today on the coffee break. If you're out there, you're a barista, you're a professional in the coffee industry, you know, shout out to these guys. Send them a message. Let them know that you support them. Let them know that you are waiting for them, you know, when they get out of school. If you want to give them a job, also here they are. You can comment down in the comment section and just show them some love. We'll take a break right now for you to get a cup of coffee, for you to get some rest, but we will be right back. And after, we shall be brewing a cup of coffee. We want to see how much the students have learned at Brew Plus. We'll take a break right now. This is the Coffee Break on House of Talent Television. It's amazing how time runs. We have already had, you know, the first part of the show, and I know what we can talk and like they say, until the cows go home. You know, when we start talking about coffee. But you're still tuned into House of Talent Television, the Coffee Break. Me, Emmanuel, with Emmanuel in the house, and Simon Peter. We've been talking about their perspectives as students at Brew Plus, you know, in the coffee industry. What have they learned? What do they want to become? And the last part of the show is always for brewing. These guys have talked about the theory. Can they do the actual practical? We're going to find out as they brew a cup of coffee. So guys, I've talked about, you know, the theoretical part, you know, the coffee from the tree, the planting, what you guys want to be, how you got into, you know, the coffee business and all these things, what you're studying. Before we get into the brewing of this coffee, yeah, I just want to ask Emmanuel, what are your future plans? I know you just don't want to get out and become a barista. Do you want to open a coffee shop? Like you said, you want to be a superstar, you know? So what are your future plans when it comes to, you know, coffee after school? What do you want to do?
Yeah, I have some of the pastry skills.
Yeah.
So after me learning these things and I get some little money, I'm planning to start a coffee shop, and I'll have a pastry side in my coffee shop whereby my customers can come and take my coffee as they eat some of my baked things. Yeah. So those are some of my plans.
So you plan on, you know, opening your own spot?
My own spot.
Very good. What about you, Peter?
I plan on becoming a farmer.
Yeah.
I already have plans of, you know, starting up maybe after getting some capital. You know, it's best to become a farmer because you're everything. You know, you give direction to the entire process. Yeah. Because I have now the coffee knowledge, it's best that I got the field, and also farmers out there learn from me. Yeah. Yeah, it's best if you become barista because you taste the coffee, then you go back and become the farmer. Yeah. Which is not the case now. So I think that if I become a barista, I have the capital to begin up a farm. I'll go back and begin up a farm. Yeah. Maybe also I have my own coffee sell my own coffee. Yeah. And not have middlemen in between, because coffee is really very much expensive.
Yeah, I like that I have both of you on the show, because earlier this guy said he's a chef, you like to eat food. So you connected there. Yes. And now, you know, you want to become, you know, basically a farmer. Yes. And, you know, he wants to open up a coffee shop. So you're going to supply him.
I supply. Yes.
So I think you guys should really stay close together, because, you know, that kind of relationship is very important. Well, we're going to get into brewing a cup of coffee now. I'll hand it over to these guys. We have our, you know, stuff here that we're going to use. First of all, you guys have to tell us what is in front of us, what we're going to brew, you know, basically the whole process. But before we start, I just want to tell everyone at home, we talked earlier about hygiene. Hygiene is very important when it comes to the coffee business. You know, basically it affects, you know, the whole process. Okay. So before you start making your cup of coffee, what you need to do is make sure that you're clean. And which parts are you going to use most?
The hands.
Okay. So here at House of Talent, we always encourage you to use, you know, sanitizer. Always sanitize before, because even the times that we're living in, everywhere you go you have to sanitize, and make sure that you protect yourself, protect your customers, and basically protect everyone who's around you. So before we get into brewing our cup, I just want to, you know, sanitize these guys. You can watch at home there, so that you can know that our hands are clean.
Thank you.
Before we start this, so guys, I'll just hand it over to you. What do we have in front of us basically, and what are we going to be brewing for the people at home?
Yeah, thank you so much. So I'm going to teach you how to make simple coffee at home. In case you're able to get yourself a French, this is called a French press, or a plunger. So I'm going to take you through. So we have our hot water here, and this is our kettle. Yeah. So you first have to put your hot water in, because you put your hot water in the kettle.
So to Simon Peter, how hot should this water be?
The water must be really hot. It must be 100 degrees. Yeah. Yeah, it must really be hot.
Okay.
Yes.
So sometimes I've seen, you know, some baristas coming with thermometers basically to test how much, you know, how hot the water is. You know, so we have to make sure that it's heated to a certain point.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we got to that.
That also depends on where you are. There are presses that are really very much hot. Yeah. and you don't need something too much hot.
Okay.
Yeah, so
So you need to keep it moderate.
you need, it varies where you are.
Okay.
Yeah, so some people think that is not more than like not 100.
Yeah.
Others think it's 60 because where they are, it's really so hot and you don't need something really so hot.
Okay.
Yes.
So as a professional barista,
Yeah.
you know that you have to first preheat your vessels before using them. Because you're not supposed to serve a beverage in a cold vessel.
Yeah.
So you have to first preheat it. So after making sure that your vessel is hot, I think the temperature is now enough. So initially in the restaurants, you have to measure, you must have a measuring scale.
Yeah.
But this is just homework.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're making your coffee at home, simple work.
Yeah.
So you have to get your coffee. So you're free to put the number of scoops you want, depending on the level of coffee you
Concentration.
want, on the concentration.
So the more coffee I put,
The more
the
the
stronger
stronger it gets.
Okay.
So you are 3, so I'll put 3.
So as you continue that, Simon Peter,
Yes.
I've heard in some instances people ordering cold coffee.
Yes.
So does cold coffee go through the same process before it comes out in the cup?
You use ice blocks to make the coffee cold.
Okay.
Yeah, you use the same process, but you can use the ice cubes to make the
So
coffee.
basically it starts off as hot coffee,
Yes.
then I put in the
use-
ice cubes and
yes.
it ends up as cold
Cold,
coffee.
yes.
So does that kind of ice affect the, the flavor at the end of the day or the taste of the coffee?
The taste will remain the same, but
Yeah.
of course the coffee is cold.
Okay.
Yes.
But with a little bit more of water.
Yes.
Okay. So let's continue. We've gotten to that point.
So after putting your coffee in the vessel,
Yeah.
you're supposed to pour the water
Okay.
in a circular form.
Actually, that is what I wanted to test. You guys have passed the test. For every barista that has come here, the first thing they did was preheat. Okay, and when they were pouring the water, it was in a circular motion.
Yes,
They just don't
yes.
pour water,
Yes.
And
It's
you
like
know
you're
why?
pouring for tea. Yeah, why do we do
So
this?
that all the dry spots can get the water.
You soak everything.
You
Yeah.
soak everything in water.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So if you guys hadn't done this, I was going to go back to your teacher and say, boss, you know what? These guys did a refresher course. But you just doing simple things like this really shows, the level of professionalism that you guys have already acquired even in, the little time that you have been in school, which is a very good thing. So for the people out there, it's encouraging, to see you guys. How long have you guys been in school anyways?
How long, Emma, have you been there?
It's now 2 weeks
2
so
weeks,
far,
2 weeks, yeah.
but you can see what I can do.
Yeah, in 2 weeks you can actually do this.
I'm
Yeah.
a little bit older and I've taken time,
Yeah.
although I just come and go back because I don't live here.
Okay.
Yeah, apparently I live in Mukone. But
So
I just
basically
come to work.
about a month for you guys, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so after pouring our coffee in a circular motion, what next in the process?
You stir.
Okay, you stir the coffee.
Yeah.
And why should we stir the coffee basically?
So that all the spots can get water.
Okay, so we have to also degas it in a way.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're watching from home, these guys have been in coffee school for no more than a month. And if they can do this within a month, imagine what you can do within 2 months or 3 months, And I believe that, at this point we have to leave our coffee to brew.
Yeah, for 4 to 5 minutes.
For 4 to 5 minutes. So
Yeah.
as our coffee brews and, we're coming towards the end of the show, Emma, I just want you to look into the camera. Okay, I know there's someone out there, you're a cute guy, wanting to be an influencer, you already spent 2 weeks in school. I want you to look into that camera and tell someone out there who's very unsure, should I join the coffee business, should I not join the coffee business? Just look them, encourage them, what have you learned and what can you tell them to pull them also into the coffee business?
Yeah, to someone out there that would like to become a barista or join the coffee industry, if it's possible, you can even start now, because this is the best place to go. I used to like working simple things. I don't like hard work, because you can see my structure. I'm so weak.
Yeah.
So the good thing about coffee, you're paid to do your passion.
Yeah.
You do your things very simply and very nice, and then you're paid good money.
Yeah.
So if you have a chance to learn such things, please just join.
Yeah.
And the market is there, because most of the people are not aware about this.
Yeah.
People are not aware about coffee. Coffee is something that is really too wide.
Yeah.
I'm sure after learning here, after my school, there are so many other opportunities waiting for
Yeah, I
me.
want to come
So
from
if you have a chance, just join.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What about you, Peter?
The same thing I would like to, to call upon my mates. people who have not yet learned about coffee, that there are many opportunities in the coffee field, very many, and very virgin. The coffee industry is still very virgin, and we will not explored anything in the coffee. So there are many opportunities. Just come right now and join, because you will be the first people there. You know, you will be the first people in Uganda probably. One time I heard about government's plans about on, you know, giving coffee to, you know. So maybe you can have a job as a barista somewhere in a government office. You know, so there are many opportunities. Even going to Europe as just a barista, you can go to Europe and you know, make money. So there are many plans. So people should come now and join Brew Plus. Brew Plus has given us this knowledge, and he's still giving out the knowledge. So let them come, let everybody come and join the coffee business.
You know, I like that right now there are very few people actually. And for you to get into something when it's new, you will have more experience than the other guys, you know. But if you want to get into it when it's really populated, everyone, it's like how we have arcades in town everywhere you can.
Like how Chameleon dominated the music industry when he just came in. But everybody is now a musician.
Everyone is doing music. So it would actually be a very good time for you out there to get into the coffee industry now. The courses are not that expensive. I mean, take it as an investment. You're investing something into your future, and it's something that is going to work for you for, you know, very many years to come. Before we started the show, we're just talking about how you guys, you know, there are some people out there who are watching you guys, you know. So I just want to give you an opportunity to say hi to your, you know, to your fans, who you want to be a superstar, to the guys you study with. So look into that camera and just say hi to your people.
Shout out to my fans out there. It's your boy Caesar. I know you know me, so I say hi to my friends at Daddy Quick Restaurant. By the way, Daddy Quick Restaurant is the best place to go. If you want to taste nice coffee, Daddy Quick Restaurant. Along Sao Paulo Road, you just find us there.
Sao Paulo, the boys' side?
No, the old Kampala side.
Okay. Yes, Peter, what about you?
Okay, I want to say hi to my brother. I have a brother who went to Saudi. I brought him to the coffee. They introduced me first, so I introduced him, and he left me. So it's very so he's actually watching live. He's called Paul. He's a barista now. And then I also want to say hi to everybody who is watching, and my friends, my workmates here in Mukono at Tiana Food Spot. Tiana Food Stop is just along Kayunga Road. If you ever come to you know, Mukono, just along Kayunga Road, along around the tax park, you just find Tiana Food Stop, and we can serve you food. You know.
So if I come, they have a free. I have some free food for myself.
Yes.
You've heard it here. You guys are the witnesses. When I get to Mukono, I have some free food. I also want to send my shout outs. Basically, to every barista who has been on this show, thank you very much, you guys, for, you know, coming to just discuss coffee with the different people. For the guys who are behind there in production, I know we always don't give them, you know, a lot of credit, but they're there, they're always waiting to take the coffee after it's brewed. I know they're already eyeing it. And we've come to that part of the show where it's almost coming to the end. I think our coffee has been brewing, you know, for at least 5 minutes. And I think we can go ahead and serve it, you know, as we come towards the end of the show. If you're watching at home, you've also been waiting for your coffee to brew. Get your cup. It's time for us to get it into the cup, like we say, from tree to cup. This is the cup part. Please.
Okay. So you cover very well. So you push down. As it filters itself. See?
So you should also make sure that, you know, you always have a very good filter when you're using this. You know, the filter paper is a very important part of the whole process.
So you can see our coffee.
As you can see, we brewed a very good cup of coffee. Yes. So do we get it into the cups and toast off as we, you know, close the show?
So what happens is that the residues go down.
Yes.
As you can see, this is called a plunger. When you insert this, you know, you plunge it, you press it, and then the residues of the coffee will go down, and then the liquid, this is now our brew. This is our beverage that we are going to test.
So after, I can't use the residue again? I have to get fresh coffee? Or I can just keep adding water to it?
if you want, you can use it again. If you don't want, there are so many things that they make out of these residues anyway, so you can keep it.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come towards the end of our show. Emmanuel will go ahead and serve us our cup of coffee. But if you're out there and you really want to learn about coffee, you can always contact the different baristas in the different coffee schools. They will be able to help you. If you're at home, you're in lockdown, I know that school hasn't yet really begun. Don't sit at home. Always get something that can add value to your life, and getting into the coffee business is a very good idea. At House of Talent, we also bring you the Coffee Break Show, where we let you guys know everything that you need to know about coffee. We have fun with different baristas, we have fun with different roasters, basically different people in the coffee industry. And our cups have been served, and I'll just have Emma take one, and also Peter will take the other, and we'll just toast off, so you guys can take a cup each. This has been the Coffee Break on House of Talent Television. My name is Emmanuel. I had Emma with me in the house, who is going to be a future superstar. So you should get to know him now before he becomes a superstar, so that when he becomes famous, he can remember you. We also had Simon Peter in the house, who is a barista. He wants to become a farmer in future. I believe that you're going to export a lot of coffee. These guys are going to be something else in future. If you're out there, you're a barista, you're a kappa, you're a researcher in coffee, do give us a shout out. Let us know if you want to get on the show, so that we can basically build a very good community of baristas. But from us here, we're going to toast off to the Coffee Break on House of Talent Television. Thank you guys very much for coming. As we enjoy our coffee, have a good day. This has been the Coffee Break on House of Talent Television. My name is Atengi Manuel. Till next time.
A bit of complication, but it's intriguing.
Yes.
It's designed that way.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
It may be a maze, but there is order to what appears to be disorder.
So that is Pastor Semper.
That's Pastor Semper.
Yes.
And that's actually the work of God, a complex.
Yes.
When God does things, He does them fearfully and wonderfully. They're amazing.
Yes.
When you look at them. So people like you said, they want to put a dot where there should be a comma.
Yes.
And they want to keep you only in one place. People like to say, Pastor, why are you now entering into politics? Why are you now commenting on it? Pastor, now for example, yesterday some fellow on Twitter was complaining, I forget his name, he complained about a woman who tweeted that she's got 6 dildos, electronic dildos, okay? And she was saying, these are, can you imagine, I can have these and I have no threat of STDs. So now one of my followers complained and said, man, how can we even compete with these things that never run out of energy? And now there was a growing falling out of people saying, man, we are really
being taken down, these things. But you're a human being, you're not electricity.
Exactly. But now,
and the system was never created for electricity.
Exactly.
Yes.
Now, normally I don't go very, very much into issues of sex and but if I have to, I will. Yes. Because I represent a thinking of a biblical way, and people see me as a role model. Yeah. So I remember that back in I think about maybe 2019, they released a report, and this is a scientific report, that showed that couples, that is man and woman who had sexual relations and exchanged fluids, were happier. Women who had sex and exchanged sexual fluids were happier, and they examined what is the sexual fluids from a man. What are the chemical components? They broke them down. One of them, they call it a happy hormone called oxytocin. Now oxytocin is a happy hormone. When a woman receives oxytocin, she gets happy. It's only released during sex with a man or when she's breastfeeding a baby. Those are 2 times. And it makes her happy. Why do women, why do they bond with their baby, love them so much? Because there's a chemical release that God has designed. So when I release this research to this guy, I say, guys, don't worry, you are not, it's not even a competition. Those women there, they may use those gadgets, but they are still miserable still. Long after they have run out of batteries, because they can never have what God put into you. Guys were happy. Because Because you see, when God gives you a mission to bring happiness to you, between you and your wife, He equips you with a capacity to make her happy, which cannot be found in a dildo or in a machine. And by the way, I sometimes like to point this out to those who are practicing same-sex relations. You can't have that. You can't have that.
No.
Lesbians, homosexuals, they do not have that. It never comes, that chemistry. Number two, even in those who are doing, these feminists who are doing masturbation, whatever, you can't get those hormones. So I sometimes say the reason why some feminists are continuously miserable, because they have never sampled the happy hormone. Can I watch it again?
No embarrass at all. And Pastor, I have a very interesting message here from Edward Ochom. He has said, and I'm going to read some of your questions from out there. This is coming from Edward Ochom. Is a serious lawyer in town, land rights lawyer, and with a fresh master degree from Swansea University, just returned. Swansea,
England.
Yes.
Well, hi, how you doing?
And disorganized our economy, brought our health system to its knees, and along the way, affected our rights significantly. This is You and the Law, the COVID edition here on House of Talent Television. My name is Jonathan Ochom, your host.
When it comes to the law, we basically live the law, you know, on a day-to-day basis, you know. Whether it is in your bedroom, there is a law that governs it. If you're married, for example, even if you're single, there could be something touching on the law, because you might be in your bedroom with an underage girl, or you might be with another person's wife. You know, all the things are the law. You know.
If you're a human being, you have rights. Those rights are called human rights. They are examples: the right to health, the right to freedom from torture. That underscores human dignity. Freedom from slavery. You're not supposed to be someone's slave.
If you look at our penal code, it sets out another marriage laws. It sets out the persons who can marry and those who cannot marry, right? For example, you can't marry your close relatives. You know, if you did, you'd be committing a crime.
The state is not supposed to tell you who to worship, how to worship, how many times a day. No, you have a right to work. A right to work. You have freedom of association.
Cohabitation for whatever period of time does not make you husband and wife, right? And that is why we emphasize to people that when the relationship is still hot, you know, you must ensure that you do what? Marry. You know.
For human rights to be respected, protected, and fulfilled, relevant government programs must actually work. Medicine should reach hospitals, oxygen should be there, health workers should have gloves, teachers should be present. Now they are mostly absent, and they have left the profession, a good number of them. They are into trading. So things must work. If things don't work, human rights are not respected, are not protected, and are not fulfilled.
COVID-19 has tested our hope and faith as individuals, families, and the country at large. Besides destroying many aspects of our lives, the novel coronavirus has also affected our human rights in many ways. You and the Law, the COVID edition, is a 30-minute weekly television program that focuses on the impact of COVID-19 on human rights in Uganda. The program engages experts to explain the importance of rights-based approaches to the success of any public health response to ensure the respect, protection, and fulfillment of human rights amidst the challenges presented by COVID-19. You and the Law, the television program, brought to you by Legal Hub Uganda, taking the law to the last mile in proud association with I4C Africa Hub and House of Talent Television, coming soon. It is a creative industry talk. My name is Eddie Okela and this is House of Talent Television. Welcome to the program. This week on the program, we bring you the story of those who are doing it in Uganda. And of course, we are always talking about local content development by Uganda, Build Uganda. Do we really understand what this means? Do we know what local content development means? Everyone is talking about it. And today on the program, we decided to focus mainly on the woodwork in Uganda. You know, the creative industry talk is talking about, you know, furniture building in Uganda. Do you buy Ugandan furniture? Do you have a Ugandan furniture in your building? Or are you all the way flying to China and to all these other places to have furniture from there? Yet you have people who are doing this woodwork in Uganda. On the program today, we focused their story and of course the interview to the young men who I found around the streets of Kampala. One day I was driving and I was looking for Ugandan furniture, and so I used to drive on the same road over and over, and I see this place and there's just a couple of young people just doing their stuff, you know, crazy ideas and, you know, things put around the place, and I decided to give them a visit. It started raining, so I stood there for a couple of hours watching and seeing what was going on while I wait for a table to come to my office. And indeed, they made a table. So what I was looking for was, do they really understand what they're doing? Do they understand the art, you know, behind the creativity that they're actually, you know, involved in? And along the way, I realized that they just simply need, you know, somebody to believe in them. So we decided to bring them onto the program today so that we can enjoy the creative minds and the creative people of Uganda in the woodwork in Uganda, in the furniture business in Uganda. Ladies and gentlemen, all across the world, welcome you all to the Creative Industry Talk. And of course, my guest today is a man from the eastern part of Uganda. David Anderson Onyango was one of the people leading that particular business, you know, on that particular street in Kampala, Uganda, to the furniture business and supply in Kampala. David, welcome to the program. How are you doing? Here we spread the love. When you do this, you must spread the love. So you have to spread the love, yes. Welcome to the program, and I'm going to take off my glasses so that the creativity can start. First of all, we want to start from a very lighter note. Who is David Onyango?
Well, I am David Onyango Anderson. As you said, from the east, but born and raised of Kampala.
Okay.
I've roamed the streets of Kampala. I've seen my childhood through Kampala, my best and worst. And I am now a woodworker, a law student, and a mental health worker, all in one person.
Yes. So when you say you're not a woodworker and a mental health worker, but first we want to take you growing up. Who was David growing up? What did you want to be in life? What were you looking for in life growing up?
Well, growing up, I went to school in Chitante, right here. I was a very argumentative person. So I think law was always the option for me. But I was interested in art as an option, as a main part of my life. I was interested in creating beautiful things because I saw beauty in the things I saw most of the times. So I think that explains my choices in both law, which is something I'm passionate about, and woodworking, which gives me the chance to create art physically and see it.
Okay. So we want to just, get straight to this interview and just try to sort of like know you from a certain, angle and with a certain lens. When you were growing up, did you ever make those wired cars, things we used to use when we were learning how to drive, making those things, were you that creative when you were growing up?
I was, actually.
What is the memorable thing that you think you created when you're growing up that when you look back today, you can say it all started from here?
I think it was around 2002. I created my first tipper with actually the ability to tip its content. All in the streets of Mulago, and it had lights, it had the tipping pad.
Yes.
I refused to sell it off. I would sell a lot of items, but I kept that one for myself because
Wow.
I think it was the beginning of it.
Yes. Now, talking of that, did your father or your mother ever see you as a creative person?
Well, I grew up with my mother for most of the time, and as you know, life in Kampala, you don't really get time to be with your parents.
Yeah.
A lot of the times because they're always pulling ends together. But I think, I don't know if she saw it, but she gave us the freedom to explore.
Yeah.
She did not control us a lot.
Okay.
She controlled our behaviors, but she gave us the freedom to do our own things that were within her rating of moral and fine. So we had that chance. We could do this, as you said, small wire cars and sell them off, and she would let us use our money for our things. And I think that pushed us forward to know that, well, if you create something good, then you can get money from it. And I think the greatest motivation is always money at the end of the day.
You speak with the word plural, which means us. Who are we? Us referring to who? How many are you in the family, and are you the firstborn or the lastborn?
I am the second lastborn. Yeah. We are in a family of 4 children. Yeah, I have a bigger brother, I think, who comes up more in the plural form. I have a sister who is a graphic designer. Still, I think art is in the family in a way.
Yes.
And my big brother was the inspiration into woodwork at the main part, because there's a bigger age gap, so he went into the business before me, and he pulled me into it. But even in the start, I mean, he inspired me a lot.
Okay. Talking of that, we are talking to David Onyango here. We're talking about woodwork. This entire interview today on the Creative Industry Talk, we're talking about furniture in Kampala, furniture in Uganda, furniture in Africa. Do Africans buy their own furniture? Do we buy things made from our own people? Do we sit in things made by our own people? Today's topic is looking at the local content development, focusing on Ugandan-made furniture. And of course, we have David Anderson Onyango from he's the business development director at, formerly it's called Arc Furniture, but now it's called Chronicle Furniture. I learned this morning. Oracle Furniture, I learned this morning. And it's a new business. They are situated on Bukoto Kisasi Road. And these guys do amazing stuff. So we brought them on the show today so that you can actually understand that there are some simple Ugandans creating local content that are good for our businesses. David, we want to go back to this interview and start this interview from a very interesting point. So let's talk about woodwork. Furniture, Ugandan-made furniture. What is your definition of a Ugandan-made furniture?
Well, my definition of Ugandan-made furniture has expanded a bit the deeper I went into the industry. Initially, Ugandan-made furniture was woodwork. It had to be woodwork. But the creative minds that we are, Ugandans, we've expanded. We've expanded into the medium density fiber boards, that is MDF ordinarily. We've expanded into reclaimed wood furniture, where we have the pallet furniture. So it has really grown, but to me, the definition would be that it's a piece made by a Ugandan in Uganda, and with our own creativity here, because we have a different scope of creativity from everyone else.
All right, very good. And what is your understanding of Buy Uganda, Build Uganda? We are always talking about Buy Uganda, Build Uganda. What is your understanding of Buy Uganda, Build Uganda? Bobo.
Well, Buy Uganda, Build Uganda, I think this is what employs us as Ugandans to come back to develop and support our own pieces of furniture here, our own items here, made by our creativity and our materials. And it pulls us back to understand that we are going to receive furniture that has been made based on our ability as Ugandans, but feel proud of it because it is made here by our own and from our own materials.
Talking of that, David, most times we think that, when we're looking to buy a bed, I go to Nina Interiors of this world, I go to big time furniture shops to get a bed. But also there are these guys on the roadside for low cost housing conditions, furniture where people usually just go to, you know, buy their bed for that area. But we tend to think about validation and the point of buying furniture from the sense that I want imported furniture. That is when I feel that I have spent my money right. Having started this business, what motivated you to move towards it, and why? Why yet the odds against you are quite too, you know, straight that I will go to Mina Interior to buy furniture from, or I will go to slightly, you know, moderate, you know, place to buy furniture from there because I want to, you know, there's this notion that a Ugandan made furniture is not good.
Well, my main motivation was and still is the fact that when I look at the furniture from the what you call the high class sell places, I don't see any difference. They actually work a lot on budget. So our local furniture, our local carpenters here do produce items, let's say a bed, using the same materials, the same quantity of wood and even more, and waste it. But because they demand so less from themselves, they keep it at a given rate of quality. They didn't seek to compete with they had actually quoted themselves as the lower end and gotten satisfied with that.
All right, you guys are coming in to sort of like redefine the thinking that has always been there of we can make the Ugandan wood look good, and you know, a person can be more prouder to, you know, buy from Uganda and even custom make something to their taste. How has that journey been like, and how are Ugandans responding to that creativity?
Initially, it was hard, really hard, because most of these people, when they get their money, they want to go and buy this piece. I mean, buy it, take it home, and then they're done with that purchase. And sometimes due to less capital, the manpower, you need the time to actually create this. So first of all, you demand something which is very rare from someone, and that is first of all trust and time. And these are very valuable at the same time. So it's really been a challenging journey, trying to get people to trust you and then give you the time.
Okay, so having gotten people to trust you and get to this level, let's talk about your first customer when you started. The very first day you guys walked out to start something. What did you create for a customer? Did you create for yourself? How did you start?
Initially, we actually worked from our own home. So we depended on our own contacts. We began with friends. First with family, then friends. Then my own realization was that the recommendations are better at the end of the day. So we began getting the recommendations. Until, well, it became a bit hard to invite someone to your home to show them furniture. So you had to now think of a location. And that is how the journey started. And the trust came from people who knew us, because they knew we had something to lose more than money itself. And then the other strangers that trusted us because they trusted someone else. Until we've reached at an extent where we are able to at least now attract trust without a middle person and without prior knowledge of the person.
Okay. David, just before we go for a break, would you quantify and qualify that as being, that very last part of it says, as being, you know, attributed to the fact that when you did something, the person you made for felt happy and felt like, I can recommend these people? Or how did you get to that point of building trust? Because trust in the foundation of business, you know, globally, economy is built on trust. I trust you, I give you business, I trust that you take my creative thinking and turn it into a reality, and you give me this furniture that when I sit in, if it's a chair, I feel good. If it's a table, I feel nice to sit and take my cup of coffee or eat food. If it is bed, when I go to sleep, I feel comfortable that this is something I thought about how I wanted the bed to be like, and I went to David with my creativity, and he turned around my creativity into a reality.
Well, definitely, it is because we've been able to pay back these people's consideration, the customers' consideration, exactly the way they give it back.
Take for example, when you, most of the times, first of all, when someone trusts you and then they give you the time, so one thing they don't want is an excuse. So you keep it out of the equation. And then there's also the ability to own up to a mistake, because you can't eradicate them. But every time you own up to a mistake, it gives you the relationship between the customer and the maker and the seller sort of a new fresh page to begin from, because it is not something everyone does.
Okay. We're talking to David Anderson Onyango from the Oracle Furniture, Limited, straight out of Kampala from the Bukoto, Kisasi Road, and these guys do amazing stuff. You need to check them out. They're on the Creative Industry Talk. We are going to take a break, and when we come back, the interview with David will continue while we dive into the whole point of creativity. What is creativity by his understanding, and does what he does every single day represent the whole heart of creativity? Furniture, Ugandan-made furniture. Do you have a furniture in your house, by the way? If you don't have one, perhaps you need to consider these guys. All of us dream big, but you must have somebody who can bring your dream into a reality. Stay right there. I'll be right back after the break. This is the Creative Industry Talk. If you create a space which enables people to think and thrive, that's a bonus. Before I started working officially, I used to do a lot of freelance work. And as a young freelancer, my laptop was on my back. And I didn't have an internet connection. I didn't have an office desk. It was difficult for me to work at home. So what I did is I would go and sit in a restaurant, buy some tea or breakfast, and ask for a Wi-Fi password. And then I would sit there and have my breakfast slowly, as I did my work, and I sent work to clients and everything, But before long, lunchtime, it would be lunchtime, and they would be forced to eat also. They would bring you lunch menu. You see what I mean? Yes. So when you find a space where people can come and sit, and pay for a full day. 10,000, I'm told. Yes, you see, that is creativity. Yeah. Because the owner of this building or the owner of this space knows that people, there's a certain segment of the market that can't afford to rent a premises per square meter or 10 square meters or 100 square meters and pay monthly and bring their own furniture, their own internet connection, carpeting, light and everything, a working bathroom, and then lunch for staff members. So they think about it creatively and they say, how many people can this space take? 100 people per day. Okay, good. If each of those people pays 10,000 per day, and they come and have access to the internet and a nice chair and a desk and a good environment where they can concentrate and deliver. That is brilliant. That is creativity in the workplace. It is a Creative Industry Talk, and welcome back to the program. In the studio, we are talking to David Anderson Onyango from Oracle Furniture Limited. David, welcome back to the program. David, a lot of time when I am dreaming, everyone in life dreams of something good, something, fantastic, something, nobody wants to live a poor life, and we believe that everybody is born creative. We all aspire to have something good in life. Furniture is one of those things that we want to have at home. Nobody wants to be in a house that doesn't have good chairs or good beds or or a TV stand and stuff like that. We want to talk to you about creativity from the point of how you take my creative thinking and turn it to a reality that becomes the table or become the TV stand that I use at home. And most times you know, carpenters in Uganda, all world over, they always say that if a carpenter is too good to produce something for you, then they are too difficult to deal with. They take too long to produce the stuff. Typically, take us through the process of you taking my thinking and turning it into a reality dream of a furniture, of a table that I need to have home, and how long does it typically take? Because sometimes you take way too long that people get frustrated. That's why we go for imported wood.
Well, it is very true, and it is a great challenge to, I think, the furniture industry generally. And I think that is what gives a lot of platform to those people that sell finished products.
Yes.
But for custom woodworkers, first of all, you have to understand that the time is not negotiable. The time of production, actually, the process through which this item is supposed to be produced cannot be altered. Usually the altering comes with its own effects. So first of all, it takes honesty to please tell the customer or the person ordering that after this description, it will take this time. And I think while you give the time, you need to put in an allowance for yourself based on how busy you are. So the biggest challenge with oftentimes in the furniture industry, they call it the technical curse.
Yes. Because
the more skilled someone is, then they develop the pride first of all. Then they develop the fact that they are irreplaceable. They're like, you will go and then you will come back. So that is not a business mind.
Yes,
but for a person that wants to do both woodwork as a passion and as a business, you have to balance through these things. You have to balance through these things. You have to keep enough pride so that you don't let a customer push you into a shorter time when you know it is impossible to fulfill. And then you have to lower the pride a bit to be able to alter and know that the customer is key. And you are going to need them either through a recommendation or a second job. So when you balance the two, you treat the customer right, you treat the furniture right, and then you receive their ideas, but still you don't alter the carpentry principles, the woodworking principles, because the customer is ordering. You have to maintain the principles, and that way you produce the exact same thing and the perfection that they seek, which pushes them to come back.
Okay. David, do you think that is the same process that everyone out there goes through? Because, well, you have an education clearly to yourself, and there are these people who just learned the skill from the street. They are creative people. They started from there. They are able to do something great for themselves, but they don't have a business mind. How would you help such a person have a business mind and turn around? You know, while we're talking about the local content creation for, you know, Buy Uganda, Build Uganda.
Exactly. I think historically, furniture, woodworking has been passed on, carpentry has been passed on through apprenticeship. So that is the biggest challenge. You learn the skill, you don't get the business skill because the teacher wants to keep their customers.
Yes.
But then, due to the current development, we have the technical schools teaching carpentry. They're teaching the theoretical part, but they are indulging less business. And then the business methods they indulge in are also less practical. They have been written in books. They have not been actually applied sometimes. So I think one needs to first of all learn the dynamics, consider carpentry as a business, as a trade. And the rules of trade are the same regardless of which trade you're going in. We have standard rules that don't change. So currently, I think it is something I personally took upon myself, and in our kind of business, we do have apprentices, by the way. We do take in students. They learn, especially through the lockdown. We've had a lot of them coming in and to take on the skill. But we always give them 1 or 2 days in a month where they come into the selling desk and they get to see what it means to actually do the sale. You don't have to be on the planer all the time, on the circular saw. You need to know that after the circular saw, this customer doesn't know it exists. How do you inform them that it is the step that is going forward on their object? And then we've opened up the industrial part of carpentry to the customers. They're actually very thrilled when they see how these things are done.
Yeah, so you actually take them in and show them the process, like they say, process by process, process by process, how these things are doing. Yes,
exactly.
So you take them through. So when a customer goes behind and sees this process by process of the woodwork going, when you look at them, what are they seeing at that point? And what is their response when you finally deliver this final piece to their home or to their sitting room or to their offices? Yeah.
Well, they're always very thrilled. It is surprising, even to some of us sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes someone will order something custom, and then you make a work plan, and then you sit and you're like, is this achievable?
But it's a creativity from you.
Exactly. And then as the process goes on, there are customers who have, before the process, who ask for pictures of the process. Yeah. And then even ourselves take pictures of the process sometimes. And then sometimes you move to a certain level and you call your fellows, and then this is how it's turning out. Okay. And then there's advice. And then when the customers also come in and they look at it and they're like, is that really going to come out? And you're like, wait. And the thrill after they see it coming out, it creates a different set of attachment to this. Some customers have asked for please, can you bring it and I assemble it myself? They want to feel like they're now part of this production team, the production of this item, and they talk about it a lot of times, and it keeps them coming back to the workshop. Some of them have indulged their children into this woodworking just because of how they saw it move, and now the availability of power tools has improved a lot. Yeah. It has improved the whole process. It has made it more conducive for the customers to see and for us to work. The environments we work in are less cluttered, and that is.
So it's not woodwork as we used to know back in the days, where the guy would be, with a nail banging things and trying to turn around things, and it's more professional now. It's more like you're saying that we're learning from you. There's more, electronic tools that have come in that has made this kind of creativity quite very easy. David, that's really fascinating to hear that the customer is involved in the process. So do you think having the customers involved in this process is beginning to change the mindsets of Ugandans, of Africans, that yes, we can make this ourselves, yes, we can make our own furniture, yes, we can make beautiful things, yes, we can turn around our living spaces and to something that we enjoy to be in, that I can actually be creative and see my room, my little room like this, and think about how this is going to be here, that's going to be there, and I walk to a carpenter and make this, become a reality. Do you think that is improving as the time goes? And where do you see us in the next, couple of years from now?
Well, it's really improving a lot. It has helped a lot. First of all, for the customers to set realistic goals, because as they discuss with the woodworkers, you get to exchange the impossibilities and the possibilities. See, I want this, but that kind of wood you want cannot achieve this particular goal. Yeah. So if you want that as an end result, you have to come into this type of wood. And then the advantages and differences and disadvantages of each type of wood. I'll give a live example. If you want a white item to be in color white, a piece of furniture to be in color white, it is more difficult to use a muvule piece of wood, because muvule is naturally yellow. So if you paint white on it, the yellow will always come out.
Yes,
so
yes.
These kind of lessons to customers has made it more easy, and it has also helped the industry grow a lot. Yeah. It is now more interactive, and interaction has always yielded good fruits, because in that way you get to know each other's challenges and work ways around them every time you're doing transactions with those people.
Okay, so I've seen there are people who come up with good ideas. They have an understanding of what they are looking for as a place, or as a wood, or as a furniture to have at home. And in most cases, they say, I want a black and green and yellow furniture at the same time. Do you always advise them, do you go to somebody's house and say, look, the kind of furniture you want, looking at the space you have, and looking at the colors that you have in the house will clash, and maybe you'll have to have this. And do customers usually respond to it? Because I see also another side where people are so obsessed with the, you know, spraying things and putting different colors. Natural things like the ones we have in the studio here is not very much, you know, looked at as beauty, you know. How do you deal with that? Do you advise them, or do they just come and say, I want the green table, give me a green table, and you give them? Like you said, Mvule is yellow. If you paint white, it's not going to come out very well. How do you go through that process of turning around the customers', you know, crazy creative ideas into a beautiful idea?
Well, it depends on how much the customer invites you in.
Yes.
We have customers that will pack up and then say, please, can I steal you away for 30 minutes?
Yeah.
I want to show you something, and then you can advise me.
Okay.
Now, when you give me that kind of platform, I'm going to advise you without even considering how much money I make. Well, sometimes someone will come to you and then they're like, I want a Mugavu TV stand, but I want it wall mounted. But you see, a Mugavu TV stand is going to be extra kilograms.
Yes.
So
if you mount it on the wall and your wall is not strong, basically you're saying it will come down.
It is going to come down.
Yeah. So how do I help them achieve such,
sometimes,
unrealistic goals?
Yeah, most of the time, you do advise them. Yeah. If you want to wall mount, you're going into, you can go into something lighter. We have other lighter pieces of wood, and they look beautiful too. And we can tone them in different ways. Usually wood has a lot of its own tonation, but then when we are going to tone it artificially, we prefer the lighter varieties, the Musambias, the pine. Well, pine has been embraced very much because of the environmental impact of the other hardwoods. We have pine, we're reclaiming with cypress. But you do advise the customer very much, and if they really came into a custom shop and they knew where they were coming, they'll just try to modify their ideas based on your advice, and then you can come up with a consensus on what exactly is going to work for them. And then the other idea is the idea of people taking custom measurements. This is your house, so if you want a TV stand, from where to where do you want it to run? So I'll advise you.
Wow. Well, we're talking to David Onyango, who is the business development director of Oracle Furniture Limited, a company based in Uganda. Started by local Ugandans, very young people. As you can see David here, the people he leads are very young. Fascinating to see that, David, you are actually a law student into furniture. I mean, usually putting on a very good necktie and being, called land friend is more respectable to some people out there than being called a carpenter law student. I mean, how do you balance the two? Why the woodwork and the law,
Well, for me, I think I loved being able to create things every time. And when I went into law, I knew I had the power to create words, to change them and alter them, to determine new things, and do different things with my mouth, with how I speak and how I write. Yeah. So I had one part of my creativity that I had not tampered with, and that is the physical, creating something I can actually see. That is why I decided to have the same combination. Funny story, when I finished with my A-level and I had a sponsor actually, and he engaged me on what the way forward was. I told him I have two options. See, I'm going into law school, or I'm going into carpentry school. Say, but well, those are not two options. That is one. You're going into law school.
Yes.
I said, okay, then that is law school. So I went into law school, but the passion did not go away. So I brought myself back into carpentry personally after chasing after law, and I'm still chasing after it. And the carpentry has been able to pay for the expenses of law school in excesses. It pays, it maintains me, and it has given me a chance to show a lot of other young people like me that we can do this. Well, you may not have two options like me. You may have one, which is law. You may have one, which is woodwork. You don't have to stay into one. You don't fix into one. You can go into each of your options, or you can take them on as a bunch. The human brain has the ability to do both.
Wow. Well, we are talking to David Anderson Onyango, and this is a Creative Industry Talk where we discuss Ugandan local content specifically and directly, focused on, local content development on woodwork and specifically on Ugandan-made furniture. How do you find Ugandan-made furniture? We're going to be showing you some really good furnitures out there made by these guys in people's homes from their workshop. We want to make sure that everybody who is out there and is a creative mind find this platform quite a very interesting platform for them to be part of. And of course, creativity and coffee goes all together, David. So I'm gonna just, make for you a French press as we take a break. You also take a moment to just make a French press for yourself. And we're gonna take a coffee break. And the Creative Industry Talk will be right back after this break.
Actually, my editor told me, Jeremy, there is no way you can call your book Man on Top.
Yes.
And I said, no, I'm actually going to call it Man on Top because I think I can sell it.
Yes.
Okay, I think I can sell it. And so the first task for me was to define Man on Top away from the definition it already has.
That we already know.
Yes. So for me, a man on top is a man that is faithful, dependable, and responsible. So I began a campaign about saying you're a man on top, you're faithful, you're responsible, you're productive. So every man has within them a desire to be those three things, to be faithful, to be productive, and to be responsible. So every person who thought they were faithful, responsible, and productive said to call themselves a man on top. You see, that was the idea in terms of the title. The cover really was purely about getting people to pick up the book, especially the ladies. I think it worked.
Young people at the moment are struggling to understand the older generation because times have changed. Technology has come in.
They've moved on.
Yes.
We're the ones sitting back and wondering, what is my child on to? TikTok has surpassed WhatsApp. The other one I call, I never call it Facebook, it's Bookface. Why are you on Bookface? Dad, it's Facebook. Me, I keep saying, I have a foot amongst the millennials. And I understand the traditionalists.
Okay.
There's a song in the 60s, by the way, and in the 90s, 70s, where they're like, parents don't understand. Remember Prince? Prince.
Welcome back to the Creative Industry Talk. My name is Eddie Okela and this is House of Talent Television. Of course, we're talking to David Anderson Onyango from Oracle Furniture Limited. A Ugandan, authentic Ugandan outfit making furniture for people's beautiful homes, beautiful furniture, beautiful people. And you can go there and create your own. And he's earned himself the right to be on the Creative Industry Talk because some of the things in the studio where we're seated today is actually done by David and his people. The first time I met these guys, I went into their workshop, sat there and decided I have something I need them to do for us. And so I like to, work with creative people, creative Ugandans, young people, whether young or old, I want to bring them together. I love to bring the best out of people. So I decided to give them an opportunity to be able to build a woodwork and to build a studio with me, and we did this together. David, welcome back to the program. And we want to talk about it. So this studio here is built by you guys. The woodwork in this studio built by you guys. We gave you guys a recommendation and we've got a fantastic review coming back from Legal Hub that they're very happy with their studio. You were never traditionally doing studios. You didn't even do them. We open up the door for you. How does that make you feel like when somebody takes you away completely from making chairs and beds and, the living, room, furniture to now building, TV studios, radio studios, and audio studios? How does that make you feel like?
Seriously, it is a very good experience. When I'll begin from your items here, the studio work. When we first produced them, everyone was stopping at the workshop. So what is this? Is this for decoration? So it was a totally new thing to us, to the viewers, to the people that pass by, other customers. We actually, before we got, after doing your studio work, before we got a second recommendation from you people, we did these items for a few other people. Others wanted them for decoration. Pastors wanted them in churches. I want it at the pulpit. I want this. And they didn't know why we were doing them, but they looked beautiful. It was even more fascinating for us who knew why we had done them in the first place. And they are yes. So it is really, really great. And since we did decide to embrace custom woodworking as a trade, we are always comfortable with this. Someone can come in. We have a rule at my workplace with and me and my guys that even if you came in and told us you want a wooden Range Rover, we would ask for a year. But we would make it.
All right. And then, of course, so you see the beautiful work here at House of Talent made by these guys. David, we want to dive into the last part of the show, which is about, understanding the local content. We're talking about, local content development in Uganda. Everybody's talking about it. The politicians are talking about it, but nobody actually really goes down to, the deep end dive into the local content. Nobody puts their mind to know how does it work. Nobody wants to talk to a carpenter to see how a carpenter is doing it. Do carpentry people make sense? We have many carpentry shops around or workshops around, but we don't give them opportunity to produce something beautiful. We want to be able to live by example, to say this is built by Ugandans, this is built by local people. When I go to the US or to Europe or to America or to the UK or to Asia, do it your way is the main thing. The skilling of people is done from that point that I am able to build my furniture from home. I was talking to a friend of mine in Germany and he said, man, I built every furniture in my house myself. He left Uganda, he had no skill at all. Our education didn't teach him that. And when he got there, he said it's more expensive to bring a carpenter to build something for you than when you build it for yourself. But they're willing to come and teach you how to do it, and then you can do it by yourself. That I found that very fascinating. So a lot of us are talking about local content development, but we don't know. We're talking about build Uganda, buy Uganda, build Uganda. But the quality of what we're talking about, the quality of the production we're producing, the products we're producing to give to people is not worth, it cannot compete with the international, or imported products coming into Uganda. What is your say in that regard now that you have carved a niche in the market for you and your people, that we want to be people who bring out custom made? You have a crazy idea, bring the crazy idea to us, we will bring it to a reality.
Well, in my own point of view, and based on my experiences so far, in my time in woodwork, I think as Ugandans, we would be more, even right now, our pieces, the items, our ability to produce things, if we concentrate, is fascinating. It is something so great to see someone get out a stump of wood and then produce something extraordinary for you. You can do it while the person is sitting there. And that is very fascinating. So if we can produce this good with these little resources, then I think what we need is the push of resources. I'll take you to a part that is absurd, basically, about in woodwork. The prices of power tools for us, the tools we actually need to produce these high quality pieces of wood, of furniture is immense here. And when I have platforms where I engage with carpenters from different parts. I have a subscription from a woodworking site called America's Guild, Woodworkers of America's Guild. And when you look at these people talking about their drill press, their circular saws, table saws, routers, they talk about very little prices, even when converted into our own prices here. Someone buys a router so at, let's say 300,000. That is their price converted to ours. And here is a quality router so that is durable is supposed to be at least 1.5.
Yeah.
So that is really the greatest setback. Remember, carpentry is a very hard business to pitch, because it's always dependent on other people.
Yeah.
It is easy for you to pitch a business if someone can easily understand it, but people don't understand the transition from wood to furniture. So it is hard to pitch, so you don't get people investing, and if you're willing to invest, then you may find yourself having capital to only buy 3 power tools, and they can't produce a piece of furniture. So I think that is our biggest challenge here. Otherwise, I've had a lot of foreigners coming in, even personally at my workshop, and then someone says, well, I didn't know we can have this kind of furniture here.
Yeah.
This is so good. I've seen young men that have gone as far as following up on the background of the trees they are going to use for furniture. So someone will give you a furniture piece and tell you that one was made from a tree that was 50 years old. And these people have methods of measuring these things, the whites, and then they're going to prove it. It's 50 years old. And this is fascinating, how someone is able to explain a piece of furniture in their house back to the tree and how old it was. So this shows how our capability as Ugandan furniture creators, as young people, actually woodwork has been stormed by young people, and this is somehow a good thing, because how our brains work is, I would say personally, at our workshop, at Oracle Furniture, our oldest, our age gap is between 38 and 14. So we have people who are as young as 14 years, and our oldest person is 38. Okay. So you can see that we are between the range that is ready to risk, that is ready to experiment with new ideas, to think outside the box, and that gives us an edge. And this is what, as Ugandans, not only in carpentry but in any other trade, we are supposed to embrace. If someone is willing to risk, and they are positively sure that their risk is going to produce something great, you need to trust them a bit. You need to give them a bit of a gap to experiment.
So in other words, you're saying that we must be able to allow people room to express themselves.
Exactly.
And when they have something new, we should be able to give them opportunity and a platform for them to express themselves and to do it. David, let's go straight to your workplace. Earlier on when we started the show, you were talking about how you guys started and the motivations, and how you walked through in the first place. I want to just put a few pictures up to actually show you that these guys, talk about things that they are doing. That's right there. Is that you and David? And that's the workshop, and how it all started.
Yeah, this is how we started.
Yes.
And actually this was our first big addition, the metal structure.
Yes.
After we started, we were in a tarpaulin, in a small tent, where when it rains we would cover ourselves with our working tools under the tarpaulin.
Okay, and yes, so is that the whole business creative idea starting there of the workshop itself?
Yes, now that is, we are creating our first structure of a house after hitting one big job, I think, and we are sitting down now. We have to begin looking at protecting our materials, but also creating something someone can look at.
Yeah. Okay. And so when you are sitting with your young people and you're all coming with ideas, were your business ideas written down, or was it just there in people's heads that you sit down there and jazz about these things and make it a reality, or you actually wrote a proper business plan and said this is how we're going to do it? Again, there you are.
Well, I think the business plan is something we've written way deep into the business.
Yes.
That's when we decided, oh, this could become something greater. At first we got into this whole idea as people seeking to earn a living. Young people who cannot steal, we cannot do any of these immoral things. We've been brought up in a way that it's not a choice for us.
Yeah.
So we have one choice, is to sweat. And we had one person who had the audacity to know, who had gotten time to learn this. So he was like, yeah, we can. He knew how to make these things. He didn't know any other thing.
That's all he knows.
He knew how to make these things.
So did he grow up in the Jesus' time because Jesus was born a carpenter, or what happened?
Actually, he ran into, he took on apprenticeship.
Yeah.
We were younger. That is our elder brother.
Yeah.
Actually, we are a partnership of 3 brothers in the workshop, and each has a specific skill.
Okay.
But the biggest was the skilled man. So first of all, he comes in, we respect him, and we've seen some of his works. After learning, he did a few things for family members. The feedback was good.
Okay.
But now, it was now a new era coming in,
Yeah.
online marketing, social media. So, but I told him, but we can get some few customers from online, I think. He said, well, if you can, I am here to work.
Yes.
I got him one. I remember my first online customer was a doctor from Novik. I posted a small, it was was it a wardrobe?
Yeah.
On Facebook, and he liked it. He said, can I order? I said, you can definitely order. And I really welcomed him. I loved it.
Yes.
I remember myself pacing to Novik and back, to Novik and back, showing him the processes. And then I told Ronnie, this is our first deal. And
Go on.
and when we produced his wardrobe,
Yes.
he was very happy.
Yeah.
He was very happy. We never got any other customer from him, not a recommendation,
Yes.
but it was enough push for us to know that now the market is not from someone who can see you,
Yes.
especially since we were working from home.
Yes.
So we went online.
Yes.
And that's where we started.
Okay.
Yeah, we started from there.
Well, David, I want to read a couple of comments from here. Somebody saying, Eddie Okila, thank you very much for bringing that gentleman on the show. I'm very interesting, and this is fascinating to see young people actually involve themselves in making, furnitures that are very, that can compete with some international product. I have a problem of quality. Most Ugandan carpentry people or people in carpentry business usually don't pay attention to details, and the quality is always wanting. Can you ask David, how are they doing it? Have they improved? Well, I think that we can ask David by putting some of the pictures up. We can see, let's put up some of the pictures from Arc Furniture up there so that people can see. So right there, let's talk to this. David, the process of making this chair, somebody's asking if you now improve attention to details. Yes. I guess it's talking about the cushions and the stuff like that, the fitting and stuff like that. Do you have other people who do this work?
Exactly. One thing that is tying the furniture industry back is the fact that you find one person wanting to do everything.
Yeah.
So you always need that person that can cite who can do what best and let everyone specialize. Furniture is a very, very broad. It's a broad spectrum of work.
Yes.
So you cannot do it all well.
Actually, hold it there. So that right there, that was my table. So I walked to these guys and I gave them a huge challenge, and I said, I want you guys to make a 6-seater dining table for my house. And they made that table. I remember that table was rejected and it caused some serious problems. David, so how did you ever improve this table? Because the chairs are there, but the table, we didn't like them. Because of you guys became too creative in putting the lines which I didn't want and stuff like that. That's another problem. Perhaps the other gentleman is talking about how do you, make sure you understand the client beyond just what they have told you and your creativity.
But I think particularly from that particular job,
yes,
we were now trying to experiment with people who are more attentive to detail.
Yes.
People who actually know their furniture.
So was I a difficult client?
You were difficult at that time. But
yes.
But I think you were difficult. Yeah. But then every challenge comes with it a step for you to step higher.
Yes.
So from there on, I knew if you're ordering a table, and I think I did it on the second one. What do you want? What don't you want?
Okay.
Can I add this? Can I add this? Can I add this? So
there you have it. The table was changed. Is now right there. Isn't that beautiful, people? do you have a furniture? So that's a table in my house done by these guys and looks beautiful. Let's check the next picture and see. We did the chairs and somehow it was, yeah, right there. So how does this make you feel when you've finished and delivered something like this to somebody's home? Of course, I have issues with the cushions, which is the person was asking, the attention to details. The one who did the cushion wasn't. So yeah, that's my house. I like to make sure that you know, my things are done by Ugandans. So that's not an imported wood, just so you know. It's a wood created by these guys, and you can go into their workshop and give them business. Let's see another picture. And that it look like, yeah, right there. So they have improved the attention to details, as you can see, you know. And I went for something called ironwood. You want to explain what ironwood is? I gave them some bloody nose, as they call it in Uganda. It was a difficult thing for them to. Yes, David, pick it up from there. Yes.
Well, ironwood, actually, I think among all our customers, yes, Eddie, you are the only person that has ironwood. Yeah. And even if you move this country again, yes, yes, maybe you would find someone else from Sudan. Yes. This is ironwood particularly. This is a wood type from Sudan, from Central Sudan, from the Central Sudan forests mostly. It is a very hard piece of wood. It is too hard that even working it, you need to know it. And it's mostly worked by people from the north because they have access from it, to it, so they've gotten time to experiment with it. In the central here, it is very hard because even the materials we have here, like the wood glue and everything, will not work with it. We actually had to order a specific amount of a specific type of glue called, well, I'm forgetting the name. Pono glue from Kenya to work with your pieces, because every other type of wood we had here kept rejecting. Every other type of glue kept rejecting the piece of wood. It would again split. But it was a nice experience working with the ironwood, and it is very beautiful. It's very grainous. It is really a rich type of wood. It supplements mugavu, which is the most grainous wood we have here, locally growing here in Uganda. But ironwood was a new experience for me. And when I recommend it to customers, well, I recommend them.
You must have an exquisite taste to certain things. The first time I interacted with that wood, I was out of Uganda, and I found out that some of the furniture in White House in the US is made by some of the finest woodwork from, you know, Sudan and, you know, this place is called Congo. And you too can actually make sure you get something that you love and you can be part of. And I want to stretch this point to so many people out there that when you dream of having a furniture in your house, you need to be able to put that picture up again so I can explain it to people, you know, something that people don't understand. When you have a dream, we all dream of something cool and beautiful that we want to have. And you can set up the target and take your time, but you must find people who are able to do it. That type of wood is what is used in White House. If you look at the White House and, you know, many of these state house, you know, particularly in Europe, they have some very exquisite taste for wood. I mean, President Putin, for example, his wood in the state house, if we call it, or you know, the Russia house, whatever we call it, is such an amazing taste of wood. Now, it's created by a carpenter. So when I walked out there and I interacted with some of these things, one time I was in Dominican Republic, and I went to a house, one of those training I do, and I saw some certain type of wood. That's when I interacted with some of the most beautiful wood, and I said, one day we will have this. So yes, it's something that I want people to understand, that you can have your own dream, and your dream can be brought to a reality, and your dream can live. So it's not just any type of wood. David can tell you, the first time I gave it to them, it was very difficult to deal with. And I wanted to share that experience. Was I a crazy customer to you guys when we first started?
Well, unfortunately, I will say yes. Yes. Because when you talked about, well, I want ironwood, I went to the procurement guy and told him, you know what, Ronnie, that is my big brother, by the way. Yes. We need ironwood. Yes. I said, what is that? I said, no, there is ironwood. So he goes to to Industrial where we purchased this wood. He tried to call every wood person he knows, asking for ironwood, and they told him, unless you're looking for ebony, which you're also not going to get, there's nothing like ironwood. I said, but no. I went online, I gave him pictures of ironwood. So now he goes with a picture, I want this type of wood. And it was lucky for us, that lucky for Eddie too, that we came across someone who had a full warehouse of ironwood.
You could tell them the story of how long that wood has been there.
He had a full warehouse of ironwood. This was a foreigner. This guy was Indian. I don't know if the warehouse had been captured in the 76 war that took off Amin.
Yes. Then
it had been kept locked for all this time. And this wood had been purchased with the intention of using it to make lorry bottoms.
Yes.
That is the wood that you find in the lorry bottoms.
Yeah.
Because it even if you dipped it in water for a year, it will not react. It will not break. It will not dissolve. It won't even lose color. So that was ironwood. We find a full warehouse of ironwood and mahogany, and Ronnie says, well, there's a warehouse here. I said, let's go and look at it. And when I first had this, the wood had of course withered a bit, that you could not identify it from the top. I told him, no, let's go with our plane and let's plane one piece. And the beauty of it was excess. Actually, I think besides Eddie, I too have ironwood in my house.
Yes.
Because it was superb. It was something good. We first of all bought a section of the wood in the warehouse, but we ended up buying everything.
Yeah.
We bought everything. We had a sales agreement with this guy, and I told him, if you sell one piece, you're going to court.
And 90% of that wood is at House of Talent.
Exactly.
So again, I want to just make everybody understand that it is possible. We're talking about Buy Uganda, Build Uganda. Just put it up there. We're talking about Ugandan-made furniture. Can you make it possible? Can Ugandans do it? So when we're talking about local content development, focusing on Ugandan-made furniture in this particular show today, we want you to know that buy from these guys, go to these guys and give them opportunity. These guys on Facebook, write to them, give them an order, and they'll be able to produce something very good for you. A lot of us are talking about these things. If you're a carpenter out there, send us a message, show us what you're having, and we'll definitely be able to bring this to you. IKEA has or makes the best type of woods and creativity in the whole world. All of us dream of buying IKEA, but do we have the money to buy IKEA? Do our earnings take us there? Can we reach there? If not, then it's something that we need to be able to think about the alternative, and these guys do much better than David, we've got to bring this show to a close. Let's go back to your workshop and finalize some of the take us through the process of creativity that some of these furniture go through, so that somebody who is looking for, what's that? For example, I see you fitting in a house. So do you custom made fitting? When you're talking about custom made fitting in a house, is that a new house?
Yes, that is a new house. We were on site in Imbarara. One of our customers, from a recommendation, he's a Kano,
okay.
Kano Baguma.
Okay.
I'll mention. So he gave us his whole house to furnish it. We first of all did his door work, door frames and everything. We shut the house. Then he said, I want now items. We have an album.
That's the door woodwork you're talking about?
Yes. Those were some of his doors. So we first of all have an album. We give you options. Then you pick your options, and then we produce what you choose.
Okay.
You can even alter some of these options. I want this, but we are going to change this to this. So when we create this for you, then we come on site and fit it ourselves, because the fitting determines everything. If it's even if it's good and the fitting is wrong, it won't come out.
Okay, let's check on the next picture up there. The next picture, if you put the next picture up there, you were attempting to make, this was your first creation. Okay, let's talk about this. That's David Anderson Onyango up there, So what was the story behind this desk? We see this thing on Pinterest. We don't know how it is made, but you guys are making up a table,
So that was our first attempt at a picnic, a folding picnic table.
Yes.
We get this customer, guy is Indian.
That guy right there is a law student. who is into carpenter. Continue.
Guy is Indian. He says, I want a picnic table that folds. He sent us a video from Pinterest, of course.
Yes.
So he's like, but you people can't make this. I know. You just make one that is static. So I told him, if I make this and it folds, we are doubling the cost. He says, well, as long as it does what I want, I'm going to pay. So the initial cost was supposed to be 800,000 for one that doesn't fold. So he's like, oh, I told him it won't be 1.6. It will become 2 point something. He says, as long as I get this thing and it folds. He has a smaller compound, but he wants to be able to expand it when he has more guests. And you know, people host a lot of people over the weekends.
So why don't you make House of Talent a gift of that, you know, table? We want to see if you can make another one. You made one table. Put that picture up again and we see that video. If we can task Onyango to actually make this with these people and make one more table. Put it up right there. Let's see.
Well, that is me checking it out.
Yes. How long ago has this been?
Well, that was, I think, 4 months back.
Okay. And it is still working?
Perfectly.
So why don't you make this for House of Talent? We want one just to give us a sample and we see if we can use it here and see if you can recreate the same thing you have done before.
Well, the first agreement will be if you don't want it in ironwood. Because that will be the only issue. Otherwise, it is something very easy and it is something nice. And I would love so much to showcase it. Because this is something new. You don't find it everywhere.
Okay, next furniture. Let's see if we can run through this quickly, and we want to know whether you too can make an order with these guys. Please visit them up. Buy Uganda, build Uganda. What's that?
That's a chest of drawer. It's a 5-drawer chest. Yeah, but that was made for a customer who had purchased a baby coat from one of the big shops, but it didn't come with a chest of drawer. So he's like,
because he couldn't afford that one. I know it's very expensive when you go from there.
So he says, come around, see my bed and produce something.
Okay, so next, let's look at the other pictures. Okay, so that's the bed right there.
That's a mahogany bed. It's totally hardwood. It is all mahogany. It was made for one of our customers that is also a staunch wood fan like you, natural wood, no paint. It simply varnished to coat it, but it is no paint. All that is natural color.
Okay, next. This is the inside fitting.
Yes. Now these are fitted wardrobes, the ones that are unmovable. This was also on site in Kabale for one of our customers.
Wow. All right, next.
That is a two-seater dining set.
Okay.
Very rare. People don't usually order such things because, but that is me testing it out to make sure you won't fall. It was a mahogany. It was fully mahogany, ordered by one of our good customers. And
okay, and let's look at this. So this is right in your workshop.
Yes.
So how do we make sure that the cushions up there actually fit better? Because the downer one is fitting very much, but the upper one is fitting. And I met a friend of mine who said that we need to be able to use high density foam to be able to make sure that the seats are much more comfortable and stuff like that. Are you guys going into that? Are you partnering with people who are making this? Who makes the cushions? Do they understand? Do they measure it on? What's the process like as we close the show?
Well, we always advise customers that we are embracing the high density mattresses, and so our prices have become a little more competitive because when you're going into high density, the costs are higher. But we do give these options to our customers, and we actually refrain from making lower qualities because well, sometimes you don't want someone talking bad about you. Because when that customer can't explain that they ordered at a low price, it's a chair that's going to talk. And if he's talking a bad language, it's bad for you already.
All right, well, we've been talking to David Onyango and we've brought the show to the close. David, thank you very much for coming to the program. What's your last word to a customer who is watching you, to somebody who's watching you, and to a carpenter who has never got an opportunity to be where you are today? What would you say to them, and what would you say to most Ugandans about Buy Uganda, Build Uganda?
I'll begin with the carpenters.
Yes.
People want to support you. Give them their quality. Give them the quality that they deserve. Charge them the money, but give them the quality. Because one thing I've learned in my experience is that people know good things and they are willing to pay for them. So you don't have to alter the quality just because you're pulling a price down. Make the quality fit the price, and then the right people will buy it. My advice to customers is that there are a lot of shady people in the carpentry business, but the good people are there too. So find them and they will give you what you deserve. Not only me, there are a lot of other people that are doing woodwork and they're doing it well. We at Arc Furniture, we shall be ready to serve you. My team is there. We have manager Ronnie, he's the productions manager. When you come to Arc Furniture, you're going to find him there grinding these machines one by one, making sure items are coming out. And my whole team is there. We have manager Junior. He's the general manager running the whole place. Usually you find him up in front, and he's a finishing man. You always find him criticizing the surface of an item, critically checking it out, but he's there at the job. And we have a lot of other workers, Gideon, a lot of them. I'll mention names, I will not, but they are all there and they're dedicated to produce the quality that we have set for ourselves. And our pace is still on the run up. And my advice to everyone else that is doing production, their creativity is that creativity alone is not enough until you monetize it, because at the end of the day, even if you have a passion for it, the money is what matters. You cannot push forward without money. You cannot develop it without the money. You cannot expand it and actually feel proud of it after 5 years if it has not given you anything. So go and see how you can monetize that creative work that you're doing. If you are an artist, if you are a woodworker, whatever you do that is part of creativity, do monetize it. Give it, go and do research, read the books, there's general knowledge that will apply in your business, and then you can consult. I mean, to those of other people that have seen enough of woodwork and of those professions that you're working in, are always free to share. If anyone is gluttonous with their knowledge and they don't share it, then they're not the right person for the job. These are people who know their crafts are always willing, because they know they're also growing. You can never outgrow them. They didn't stop. Yeah. So go and ask that person, come to Arc Furniture, to Oracle Furniture, we are there. I'll take you through my business because I don't care. I am running on a high speed up. You will never catch me. Or if you try, I love the competition.
Well, we've come to the end of the show. Creative Industry has come to the end of the show. We want to say thank you very much, everybody, and thank you very much for joining me. We're looking forward to, bring you another great show next week, same time, same place, right here on House of Talent Television. It's a wrap from us here and from us and the crew, all behind the camera, the guys who make everything look beautiful, the guys who bring you the beautiful pictures and make sure that this production reaches you. We want to say a shout out to all of you guys. And until then, Creative Industry has come to an end. Stay blessed and stay creating. Tell a neighbor and share it far and wide. Eddie Killer, David Anderson Onyango, signing out. Can we hear some more from Jaja? Of course, Jaja is going to play for us that song, Kitenge. You've heard it, the sound, beautiful, and we're going to dive into how Kitenge is going to make it to the world stage as planned by Latif Shah.
Abamina bachala mwena naddala bali erudde eri muno London kyemba kudira kiri kimu butekubagiza wadde embeera za corona bangi zatutagula kakati tuve mu mayumba kitengi pate yine ensonze bumale ate nga tetusaanidde ddala kugisuwa mwani yabagamba okwambala engoye z'emivumba tujja kwambala bitengi byokka Designer Latifu Uganda Omurasita Uwakabye yatunga mu nnyonyi Maliki Jeni ne Hawa abo basibi banviri alotujja ku baana bo Anifa wa makeup Mariamu yedikoleta konne mpofini ebyokulya bingi nnyo ebyekifirika Madamu Sara Shoshi ebitaddemu umukono Olivia Katharini Nalima Maka manyinga ulira Kolono twambala ebitengi byokka Kolono twambala bitengi byokka
Economy brought our health system to its knees and along the way affected our rights significantly. This is You and the Law, the COVID edition here on House of Talent Television. My name is Jonathan Ochom, your host.
When it comes to the law, we basically live the law, you know, on a day-to-day basis, you know. Whether it is in your bedroom, there is a law that governs it. If you're married, for example, even if you're single, there could be something touching on the law, because you might be in your bedroom with an underage girl, or you might be with another person's wife. You know, all the things are the law. You know.
If you're a human being, you have rights. Those rights are called human rights. They are examples: the right to health, the right to freedom from torture. That underscores human dignity. Freedom from slavery. You're not supposed to be someone's slave.
If you look at our penal code, it sets out another marriage laws. It sets out the persons who can marry and those who cannot marry, right? For example, you can't marry your close relatives. You know, if you did, you'd be committing a crime.
The state is not supposed to tell you who to worship, how to worship, how many times a day. No, you have a right to work. A right to work. You have freedom of association.
Cohabitation for whatever period of time does not make you husband and wife, right? And that is why we emphasize to people that when the relationship is still hot, you know, you must ensure that you do what? Marry.
Yes.
You know.
For human rights to be respected, protected, and fulfilled, relevant government programs must actually work. Medicine should reach hospitals, oxygen should be there, health workers should have gloves, teachers should be present. Now they are mostly absent and they have left the profession, a good number of them. They are into trading. So things must work. If things don't work, human rights are not respected, are not protected, and are not fulfilled.
COVID-19 has tested our hope and faith as individuals, families, and the country at large. Besides destroying many aspects of our lives, the novel coronavirus has also affected our human rights in many ways. You and the Law, the COVID edition, is a 30-minute weekly television program that focuses on the impact of COVID-19 on human rights in Uganda. The program engages experts to explain the importance of rights-based approaches to the success of any public health response to ensure the respect, protection, and fulfillment of human rights amidst the challenges presented by COVID-19. You and the Law, the television program, brought to you by Legal Hub Uganda, taking the law to the last mile in proud association with I4C Africa Hub and House of Talent Television, coming soon.
Thank you very much. So this has been a very great talk show with Eddie Okyila here. I would say that first, when you think about Build Uganda, Buy Uganda, Build Uganda, we live in a free market economy. So people are going to buy your products not because it is Ugandan. No, they're going to buy your product because they love the product, because there is value that they want to get out of that product. So make sure that you're building for the customer and that it meets the standard that the customer expects. Then the customer falls in love with the product and they're hooked. They're your customer forever. Now they happen to be Ugandan, you happen to be Ugandan. Eventually we are building Uganda. Yeah, that's one thing. The other thing is be creative in your business. Adapt to change. You know, look at all the changes. Ask yourself, what has changed in the past 5 years, or what has not changed in the past 5 years? That's also a very good question to ask, and then respond to that change or that thing that hasn't changed. You know, COVID has happened. There are a lot of things that have changed currently. People are now adapting to working remotely. If you're a company, you're still asking people to come to the physical office 9 to 5. Maybe that needs to change. Maybe they need to come in a few days in a week, you know. Now you need to change your processes to allow for people to work from home even past COVID. So these are the changes. Your customers, you still want them to come to the banking hall? Maybe not, you know. Probably they can do some of these things that you require them to come to the banking hall remotely through digital channels that are existent, like WhatsApp, like Facebook, or even your website, you know. We have House of Talent here, it's broadcasting, and it doesn't have all the traditional broadcasting infrastructure that a TV station traditionally has. But here you are, you know, watching us, and you're watching us through all these channels that we have thought about and we are using. Yes, so adapt to the change, look at the things that haven't changed. If they haven't changed, then you know, build your business accordingly. Yeah, so that is my little piece of advice, and I'm also happy to receive some of the advice that you already have.
It is the Creative Industry Talk. My name is Eddie Okyila, and welcome to House of Talent Television, where we bring you creative industry talk every single Tuesday of the week. And of course, depending on which type, part, place, part of the world you're watching the show, it is the Creative Industry Talk. And of course, we're continuing with our discussion on the Build Uganda, Buy Uganda, local content development. I think that this conversation was brought alive with the Facebook situation that just happened a couple of hours ago all across the world. The blackout of Facebook gave a very interesting, discussion. I attended one of the Twitter spaces last night, and it was all about local content development. How do we empower our people? How do we move on? What are the alternatives? How do we go forward? And of course, we know that some of you guys are not able to catch the show today because your Facebook is still, kaput. And of course, if you live in Uganda, you are still, Facebook and government of Uganda still doing this, all the time. So yeah, but go to Twitter. We're live on Twitter. We're live on Facebook. We're live on our, website, www.houseoftalentuganda. But go to YouTube, share it far and wide. Coming and joining me on the show this day again on part 2 is David Okwi, the founder and the chief everything of Oduka Stores, an online platform in Uganda. And of course, David was there last week, and David is back on part 2 as you requested. David, welcome back to the program.
Thank you, Okyila.
Good. You are the chief everything of Oduka, as we would say it. How is it going? First of all, when you appeared on the show last week, what were the responses from your people?
It was interesting. A lot of people were really excited. They got a lot of insights into some of the things that I shared, and the feedback was generally positive.
Okay.
Yes.
David, we want to start from a lighter note. Facebook blackout, the whole global situation where everyone never expected that Facebook would ever go. It was not it was an unheard-of situation. You know. Had you ever thought that Facebook would easily go off like that? And this time around for more hours? What's your take?
When you're as big as Facebook, you become too big to fail.
Yes.
You are more like the Titanic, you know, too big to sink.
Yes.
But this infrastructure is built by humans who are fallible. We fail all the time. So this is rare, but it can happen to just about any company out there, regardless of the size.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, in 2019, we had a situation where Facebook went off for at least 1 hour.
Yes.
And they were able to, you know, turn around things very quickly. This time around, it was more than 6 hours for people who live in Africa. I don't know. I think
it was global. It was a global blackout, including the US. Yes.
Yes. And I attended some of the Twitter Spaces discussion yesterday. Luckily, Twitter was on, and it's you know, owned by the same guys. So I was wondering what was it was mainly WhatsApp, Facebook. I mean, WhatsApp, Facebook, and then I think Instagram. That was
Instagram,
totally
yes, Messenger.
Yeah. What sort of sense did that give you, David?
I think that gave me. I sort of got the idea that we have to decentralize the internet. Currently, the internet, as it is highly centralized onto maybe 5 companies around the world. You have Google, Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, maybe Cloudflare, and Microsoft. And so a lot of traffic that actually routes across the internet goes through these big companies. So if our lives are heavily dependent on these companies, and you know, things go down, then down goes our lives as well, and our businesses. So we have to decentralize the internet, and we have to at least allow for alternatives. We have to have smaller players alongside bigger players, so such that when there is a failure somewhere, we have alternatives.
Wow.
Yes.
I mean, some people almost committed suicide yesterday. They couldn't fathom the fact that they are not online, they're not on Facebook. The millennials were running mad. We don't know what for sure, how many numbers we have of people who were dead yesterday in those hours, or how many people got mentally completely disturbed or sick. Because there are people who leave posting their pictures and then seeing the likes, and then they want to see, hey, how many people have liked my photos, you know, what is going on. And then you know, kaput. I think it was a good way for us to detox from the whole system of just being heavily dependent on, you know, technology for your life, particularly Facebook. You know, what do you think?
There is that, but currently things like Facebook are utilities. The same way that you have electricity. So when it goes off, you're not detoxing at all. It's just that now your life is heavily dependent on some of these tools. And so if power goes off, the whole system here is off. You know, a lot of things are off. It is a utility. It's a part of the infrastructure that we currently use. So a lot of businesses use Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram to sell their goods and services. People are, you know, now you have the influencer economy. You know, people are influencing and making money out of it. You have digital marketers now who are, you know, managing a number of